After many, many years, Steins Gate has returned. Now, for some, it might just be mere moments because of the timeline, and my oh my, I'm glad to have it back. El Sai Kangadu. So, I have been waiting for Steins Gate Zero to return for a while now. It's a series that has been on my radar looking for a while now because I love Steins Gate. Like, I cherish this series. Like, this is in my top 10 favorite anime series of all time. That's how much love I have for this series. I love Steins Gate. This first episode of Steins Gate Zero, it definitely proved to me that White Fox hasn't lost their touch. Now, before I go any further, I do want to make sure something is very clear. A couple of things, actually. Number one, if you are a newcomer and this is your first time ever hearing about Steins Gate, then I want to let you know right now that Steins Gate Zero is technically a sequel to the original Steins Gate series. So, if you have never seen the original Steins Gate, then I do not recommend you to watch this video, because it will contain a lot of spoilers. Now, if you're someone that has, already watched Steins Gate, but you need a little bit of a refresher, I'll refresh you in a moment. If you want to watch Steins Gate Zero, make sure that you watch the original Steins Gate. Also, a little FYI, the studio that is working on Steins Gate Zero right now is the same studio that made and brought us Re:Zero. And also, they made the original Steins Gate as well. So, Studio White Fox is blessing us with their presence once again. Now, I do want to make sure something else is quite clear as well. The director of the original Steins Gate is not the same anymore. Now, don't worry, don't be freaking out, because judging by this first episode, at the very least, it seems that the new director that is working on Steins Gate Zero is trying to uphold, the style that the original director had from Steins Gate, the original, which I am very pleased to see that, because before I finally got to sit down and watch Steins Gate Zero, I was a little bit concerned. I was a little bit concerned because the director was changed off the project. There was a new director coming in, and I didn't think that maybe the director would be able to potentially, hold on to the quality that was the original Steins Gate. And so, seeing this first episode, it makes me have faith in the new director and where White Fox is going to take this season of Steins Gate. So, just want to make sure everybody is on the same page and understands that. Now, to kind of give a refresher where Steins Gate Zero takes place, it takes place around episode 23 between 24, the finale of the series. Now, you're probably thinking, that's a very weird place to put a sequel for Steins Gate, which it is, but it makes sense because of where it's being placed at. See, in the original Steins Gate, if you remember, at the end, you had it to where Okabe, Hoin Kyoma, he had to make a decision. Does he save Kurisu or does he save Mayuri? And that was the big conflict of the show. After spending so much time trying to save Mayuri, eventually he realized that if he saves her, then Kurisu has to die. And in that episode 23, he kills Kurisu with his own hands. He stabs her and ends her life. And you gotta imagine, after all of these different timelines he's been on, having to save, Mayuri, and then watching other people die, having to throw other people under the bus, their dreams of what they want, just to be able to save his childhood friend, you gotta imagine that's gonna have a lot of weight on you. You're just gonna have a lot of baggage you're gonna be dragging behind you as you continue through these timelines. And when episode 23 arrived, he broke down, and eventually you had a video play in that episode kind of say there's more. There is a video recording you need to listen to, and this video recording was Hoin Kyoma himself talking to his younger self, trying to give him a pep talk and realize, look, I know it looks bad, I know that you don't want to continue, I know you want to give up, but you need to go back in the past and change everything. You need to give it one more shot to save Kurisu, to be able to get to a new timeline for both girls can be saved, for Kurisu and Mayuri can be saved. That was the entire objective between episode 23 and up to 24. And like I said, this series, Steins Gate Zero, is taking place in between that. It's what if Hoen Kyoma never had a video to listen to? What if there was never a recording that he could listen to be able to go back and save Kurisu? That's where this series is taking place. It's like Hoen Kyoma right now, he is probably going to have, I'm assuming, I've not played the visual novel, I'm just assuming as someone that can kind of grab information from the series, I'm assuming this Hoen Kyoma is going to have to probably make his own video recording to be able to save the future timeline and then get us into the timeline that's in episode 24 of Steins Gate. That's what I am assuming. And as we know throughout the journey of Steins Gate, the original, that there was a World War III, we had it to where the world was getting destroyed, over like 5 billion people died. It was insane. Like, just so many people, a lot of our characters just ended up dead. And now seeing, like, this, we're getting to see a glimpse into how that future really was and what Hoen Kyoma was preventing the entire time when we reached the conclusion with episode 24. So there you go. There is a kind of brief up to speed, kind of getting you all on board on what this series is going to be about. It's Hoen Kyoma trying to prevent World War III, but we know what's going to happen in this timeline because he decided to give up, and he's probably going to have to make his video recording to be able to tell himself to get back up and start trying to save Kurisu once again. I want to talk about how different this Hoen Kyoma really is. You really can't even consider him that anymore. I guess I should just call him Okabe, actually, because he's not the same person at all. Throughout this episode, if you know Hoen Kyoma's character, you'll recognize that he was very off. Now, I'm not saying that it was, like, off as it, like, the White Fox did a bad job of the character, or, the voice actor did a bad job. He was off on purpose, and the reason why is because after everything that happened with Kurisu and him giving up, he's been traumatized. I mean, any normal person would be traumatized after what he had to see, and we get a glimpse into this throughout this episode with PTSD, where he just freaks out and all that, and you just see all the Kurisus all over the ground, and you're just like, oh my god, there's just this PTSD this man's having. And I want to just give props to White Fox for that, and the director and the entire staff that worked on this episode. I think they did a good job kind of letting the audience realize that this Hoen Kyoma is definitely not the same. Like, he's scarred. He's got a lot of baggage on him. He is not that happy-go-lucky mad scientist and all that. He's not like that anymore. I mean, he even has became a little bit more of a normie now. I mean, that word was even used, actually, in this episode, which, that brings me back quite a bit. I love Steins Gate for how it has these little quotes or things that you would see on message boards and all that on social media that are very accurate and some would actually say, and seeing stuff like, oh, legit legal lolly, lol, and all that, Okabe said in this episode when we saw that new character introduction to, just all the little normal talk between the characters. I miss this so much. But getting back on track, though, Okabe, he's not the same. He's trying to become normal. He's not acting like he was throughout the journey of Steins Gate. He's not seeming like a madman, crazy person. He's not trying to go after things that just seem legit insane. He's just trying to fit in society. He's trying to continue his college work, and he's trying to have a normal club, which is tennis. And he avoids his lab altogether, mostly from what we see from this episode, which once again kind of reinstates the fact that this is not the same character that we had in the OG series. And it just makes me feel incredibly sad for this man, because you could see that after everything that happened, he's just been so scarred. He's so scared. He just doesn't want to step back into the past ever again, and I like seeing stuff like this, of how that emotional weight is really tied to his character, and how you can see from his facial reactions, it really bugs him. And you can even see that the characters around, Hoen Kyoma, they notice that he's very off. They notice that he's not acting the same, especially when, like, he's sitting around and they realize that he's going to a tennis club and all that, or, he's not going to the lab, or his facial reactions, how he looks at them. They just know that he's off. He's not been the same. I mean, he's even going to hypnotherapy, apparently. He is going to therapy, and he's even taking medication to be able to handle everything that happened. Just these little nods here and there showing what he's been going through these past couple months since the events of the original Steins Gate really just speaks for itself. We didn't even need dialogue to really explain what was going on, which kind of takes me back to why I loved ReZero so much and Steins Gate, because when it comes to White Fox, I know they have different directors and people working on their shows. I know it's not always the same team. I'm just saying White Fox in general, I noticed a little trend with them when it comes to their staff and how they work. They really know how to tell a story without having to downright say it. They don't have to say, oh, this character's crazy, this character's going through PTSD. They don't have to say it. They usually don't. I mean, that was why I loved ReZero so much, was because you can kind of understand what the characters are thinking or how they felt just because of the way White Fox drew their faces or how the animation was done. And you can see a lot of that throughout Steins Gate Zero's first episode. So just job well done on that, White Fox, and job well done on the new team that is working on Steins Gate Zero. I think you're doing a fantastic job. Now, this does not mean that Steins Gate Zero can't become crap. I mean, it could turn out to be horrible, but I mean, for now, though, from what I can see from the first episode, it seems to be in good hands. Now, let's talk about the other little details throughout the episode. Number one, we got to hear again, and I'm just like, I missed that. I mean, I know that in the anime community, I know for a fact that not many really liked that, like they were really annoyed by toot-doo-doo. Even my friend that I watched One Piece with, Trent, he actually watched Steins Gate very recently. Yeah, not even joking, I actually watched Steins Gate with the man about 4 months ago? I would say around 4 or 5 months ago. Yeah, I rewatched the Steins Gate series 4 or 5 months ago, and I got him to watch it the first time, and I remember him saying he thought toot-doo-doo was very annoying and all that, and I'm like, I could see why. I mean, I know a lot of people in the community don't really like that, because it does, in a way, get a little bit annoying when you keep hearing it over and over from her character, but it was a little catchphrase that I really enjoyed, and I was really glad to hear it, even though it sounded very depressed. Like, it sounded like, you know, Mayuri was very depressed when she was doing toot-doo-doo. It didn't have that same, like, uplifting feel that it had throughout, you know, the first series. Now, speaking of Mayuri, I want to mention the beginning of the episode. There was a little bit of a nod to the OG opening song of Steins Gate. Now, I'll have the images on screen for you to see, but in the opening song, you see a hand, you know, going up towards, like, a sun or a moon, whatever. You can just see, like, this eclipse, and you just see, like, you know, the hand going straight up. And in the beginning part of this episode, you see Mayuri put her hand up in the exact same spot, but you could just see how the sky is very different. It's like a nod to that. So, automatically, just seeing how there was a visual nod to the OG Steins Gate, once again, that just shows that the people working on the series clearly loves Steins Gate, which I wish the same could be said for Tokyo Ghoul. Why can't you do that, Studio Clown? Why can't you do little nods like this with visualize? Why can't you animate a hand on the chin? Why can't you do that? But okay, enough ranting aside, I will say that there's a lot of goodies throughout this first episode for long-term fans and newcomers as well that just recently watched it. It was an incredible experience. Now, what I really think I enjoyed the most about this episode was definitely towards the ending sequence when you hear the music start playing. I think it's called Messenger, if I'm correct. I believe the OST that was playing at the end of this episode, before the ending song played, obviously, it was called Messenger, because I have, like, the entire soundtrack of Steins Gate. I love it. I love Steins Gate soundtrack, and, when Messenger started playing, I'm like, yo, this bringing me back. And then all of a sudden, this new song started playing, and I actually have heard this song before. I legit have, and let me explain. The song that played at the end with the credits that was rolling, that is actually the opening of Steins Gate Zero's visual novel. Now, once again, I haven't personally played the visual novel Steins Gate Zero. I love Steins Gate music, and I went out of my way to watch the opening songs of Steins Gate, not gonna lie. And I recognize that song, that ED that played, that is the same song from the game. So, once again, we have it to where Steins Gate Zero is gonna be probably taking music from the visual novel, which is what the original Steins Gate did. So, once again, more parallels there and just similarities, which I'm very pleased to see. It's definitely seeming just like the original. Now, besides all that, I think that's about it. It's a great episode, and if you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's definitely probably going to be the anime of the season, and potentially anime of the year, because Steins Gate, it holds a special place in my heart. It really does. I love time travel series, and especially good time travel series, because this is a legitimately good time travel series. So I expect great things, and I'm thankful that the new director obviously is trying to carry on the legacy of his predecessor, and can't wait to see where it's going to go. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below, how you felt about this first episode. Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? Be honest in the comments below, and I love you guys. Please be safe. Chibi out.